Dr. kindly weigh into what he speaks about. The fact that the BBI is here sounds like a solution to very many problems, but equally, when you critically look at it, the mechanisms, the reality of some of these clauses being incorporated in the document, being implemented to the latter is one thing that, lingers, or is a question that, it gets us wondering whether it is indeed a good document as projected. President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday acknowledging that his key wish is for us as a country to be able to enjoy peace after he's left, for the leaders to ensure that the BBI sails through because it has the ultimate solutions or majority of solutions to the problems that face us, and also the aspect of the Big Four agenda. Even as he wishes to see or to attain this legacy, one would want to ask whether there is a time for him to be able to do this. But a bit less focus on what, Julius brings on board, on the fact that even with the aspect of leadership, in the event that today we have an independent candidate, who is going out there to battle it, to become president, they land position 2, and all this, the nitty-gritty details that, revolve around the change of system of governance. Just how realistic are some of these clauses that are incorporated in the referendum bill that we speak about, that is at the level of the counties today?
I think the only perfect document that we have is the Bible.
Okay.
But when it comes to constitutions, constitutions like our constitution of 2010, which we are now trying to amend with the first amendment to bring in the changes that are envisaged in the BBI, it will move the country forward. It will move us from the state we are in to a different state. But it is not the perfect solution. In the future, we will do a second amendment, and a third amendment. The American Constitution has more than 25 amendments. So therefore, I think we should not in any way confuse the public.
Yes.
By saying that the BBI is the panacea to solve all the problems. No, but it moves forward. For example, I would tell you the idea of having a ward development fund, award fund in the constitution will help MCAs on the ground be able to perform their role of oversight on the executive without fear. As opposed to the current scenario where if you don't sing the tune of the governor as an MCA, you are denied resources, and therefore your people see you as a non-performer. That is a way forward in terms of, getting closer to what we can call one man, one vote, one shilling. It is not getting us there, but it is moving us forward from a scenario where you have an MP like we have in Keharo with 115,000 voters taking home 100 million, and another one with 30,000 voters taking the same. So there is an element of trying to narrow the gap in terms of representation. So in a way, I think, and that's why we need to delink the conversation for BBI with the conversation for 2022, because 2022 is, is an election, but the BBI is what really we would say the first amendment.
But Dr. Is it really realistic to even think of, delinking these two conversations? Because in as much as the gentlemen agree that, well, we should finish with the referendum talk first to the 2022, it is instrumental on what will play out in 2022. So it's almost, inevitable for us to do that.
It is instrumental to the extent that if we pass the document, there will be 6 more constituencies in Kiambu. So Kiambu people and central people, so to speak, will have more members of parliament, as opposed to the scenario where now they are underrepresented. So to that extent, yes, it is instrumental. You will find that for counties where they find they are gaining in terms of representation, and these are the areas that are highly populated, whether it is Western Kenya, whether it is Nyanza, whether it is Kilifi, you know. So to that extent, yes. But for us as Kenyans to be able to think about our country, the reason why we are saying let us delink, because the moment we link, then we'll be looking at those who are supporting vis-a-vis those who are not supporting, and the reason for not supporting may be based on what they see as their best opportunity for 2022. So I think as it is realistic. I think so. It is realistic, and if you go to the crowd, like in Murang'a where I come from, and I think people know I ran for governor there.
Yes.
The conversation for BBI, which has been going on in some, I mean, it has helped people to understand, and therefore, like yesterday, there was public participation. When they now go to the MCAs, go to the assembly on Tuesday or whatever the time next week, they have a better thing. They were not going out for public participation to be elected in 2022. That's the point. So it's realistic, and I think it's happening. And then after that, we can now focus on the elections of 2022, and then 5 years later, we focus on the election for 2027, which this new amendment will affect, and maybe another 10 years, we can come with another second amendment to look at the issues that would be affecting the country at the time.
All right, well, let's come back to you and talk. I don't know how best we can run away from 2022. Raila was Kituri and Kibwana as 2022 realignments come on board. That declaring of Mohise Kituri that he would love to be, president for the country. What do you make of it? First coming from the central region, and in most cases we've seen leaders cropping up from the Western region, but in most cases the argument has been that they identify themselves more with the people from the Western region. Do you suppose that this is an individual that would carry a face or the national face in as much as they hail from this region?
Leader, if you allow me, I just because that I just
respond okay, no problem, proceed.
Yeah, and I say hi to Dr. Moses. I always say he is my governor because I really believe in this man.
Oh yeah, Dr. Moses, I hope you're hearing that.
Yes, and
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yeah, but I allow me to disagree with him a bit because we have just talked about the BBI and the burden that we have as Kenyans, and I am saying I don't have a problem with the diagnosis. Dr. Ali will agree with me. You can do a very good diagnosis, but you give the wrong prescription. The prescription we have been given by the BBI amendment bill is the problem. Because even if we amend the constitution and we give more problems than we had, that will not solve any issue. Like for example, you see the expansion of the legislature. Like Dr. Moses just talked about the new constituencies. We are talking about moving increasing numbers of constituencies from 290 to 360 in the hope that we are going to solve the problem of things like the CDF that goes to the ground. But look at this. We are bringing new members up to 360, and then we are saying that to ensure that we have the gender balance or the gender rule is adhered to, we have to nominate. If you do calculations and with the dynamics of our country politics, you realize that we are likely to nominate close to 180 new members of parliament to meet the gender rule. And then we have the others, the ones representing the disabled people, the youth, and such. So then we are saying that as one senator per county is not enough, so we need 2. Instead of having 47 senators, we now have 94. So if you do the calculation very well, you realize that we are bloating our parliament from 416 members of parliament to about 640. The difference, we are increasing by 224 new members of parliament. Then do the calculation. Remember, it's not just numbers. These are people who will be paid with taxpayers' money. And Wanjiku is the one who will pay. It is not the people who are promoting the BBI. It is us, the Wanjikus. If you look, to maintain one member of parliament, you do calculation, you realize you require about 2 million per month to maintain one member of parliament. Meaning, for these 224 members of parliament, then Wajiko has to pay 448 millions per month.
There will be more, there will be around 360.
Yes, equivalent to about 5.3 billions per year. Then if you are telling us that you want more funds to the constituencies, then I think the better solution would have been, remember this is money that will go to individuals, those who are members of parliament. If you take these 5.3 billions that you are giving to the new members of parliament, who sometimes you find they are girlfriends of some people, then it means, if for example you share this with the 70 constituencies that you are saying that you are going to share, to divide, if you divide the 5.3 billions by the 70 new constituencies that you are giving, then it means every constituency can get an additional CDF of about 77 million per constituency. Then, so it simply means that's the solution of giving money to the Wajiko. It is not through those the people. What we need is just to deal with the CDF Act that we have in Parliament. We just deal with it without necessarily going to the referendum, because that's a provision, the CDF is just an act of Parliament which can be amended. Look at this number, the 224 new members of Parliament are enough to take care of or to employ about 600 or 6,000 medical doctors, by the way.
All right.
And by the way, for your information, reader, you are hearing the proponents of BBI telling the young people about the help. And how they are going to get a holiday for 4 years. You know, if you are so genuine that you want to give solution to the young people, I believe the same money that you are using to bring to the parliament, which is about 5.3 billions, and a university student usually get an average of 40,000 per year in the help loan. It simply means the one member of parliament you are adding is able, the amount of the 2 million is able to take care of at least 600. The 224 members of parliament can take care of about one member of parliament can take care of 600 students without loans, but giving them a grant for university fees.
All right.
So we cannot be using some carrots when we are actually increasing the wage bill, and yet the debt is too huge. As we talk now, every Kenyan, including the one who is born today, has a debt of about 138,000. When Kibaki was living in 2012, every Kenyan had a debt of about 45,000.
Right.
So we are moving from bad to worse, and then we are now bringing more problem and more burden to Wajiko. Then we are giving 5 billion to the MCA so that they can pass this. But Wajiko is the one now to save the country. If they so wish to add more burden,
then never be so. Well, as they would say, we can only wait and make a decision at the level of the ballot. Yes.
So now on the matter of this politics of regions, I think it's high time now Kenyans will start moving from where we have been. We have done tribal politics for far too long. And these tribal politics are actually not taking us anywhere. Today, if you ask me, I am a Kikuyu from Murang'a County. I'm so disturbed by the statements that are coming from our leaders that we need to pass BBI because mtu wetu anatoka. Who is mtu wetu? I mean, it is our high time we now start talking about Kenyans. We bring the nationhood. Unfortunately, this is coming even from our leaders. I heard the president the other day, whom we respect very much, telling us that ni vizuri tupitishe BBI ndio tuweze kuleta pesa huku kwetu, nataka kuacha mikononi ya watu wazuri. And I wonder, who has the power to give to appoint a president? That is only that power only sits with the wananchi wenyewe. So this is a big problem that we are having, and this tribal politics actually need to come to an end. Let me tell you, Linda, today as we talk, our children, in fact those people who live in urban areas, not only in Nairobi but even other areas, do not even speak those tribal languages. Some of these, can you imagine wale watu ambao watavote in 2022 are those people who were born around 2004. These are people who do not necessarily need don't care which tribe they are. When they are going for parties and such, they don't care which tribe the other person is.
Let's be realistic for a moment and acknowledge the fact that we are an ethno-majoritarian society. And coming to you, to Dr. Moses, when we speak about the politics of tribe, one, many have argued that we've been hypocritical on how we approach this, that deep within us we celebrate and we appreciate the tribes that we hail from. But also on the other hand, when you hear President Uhuru Kenyatta says that, you know what, it's probably now time that we have a conversation of, two communities having led the nation and all that. Very many people came out guns blazing, trying to remind the president that, oh, you are the symbol of unity, you should not speak about this. Some leaders say and acknowledge the fact that, in as much as we might castigate the president, there is that need that we sit ourselves down and have this candid discussion, because reality is that the politics of drive have been running the nation. Just how do we get ourselves out of this? Mukisa the other day declaring his interest to run the country, there are some people within the Western region that reminded him, you know what, you're not even popular at home. So what makes you think you can go out there and sell yourself as a national outfit? The likes of Mudavadi, the likes of Kalonzo, many have argued that maybe they could be good leaders for the country. But then again, the only narrative they speak so much, or they identify themselves more, or from what it is or where it is that they hail from, as opposed to, that face of the nation.
When it comes to elective politics, which is what we have in a democracy, you have to win followers, and leadership is about influence. It's about influencing people to follow you. And I think we all know that charity begins at home. I don't like to talk about tribes myself.
Yeah.
I do not see myself from the prism of a tribe. Where I work and I'm CEO, I employ people from all parts of Kenya and have always done so in wherever I am. And I think for me, we should detribalize, de-ethnicize our conversations, even in matters politics, because and I think I dare say that probably the issue about tribes come up during elections. But let's face it, if I want to be Governor Muranga, as I do, I come from a village called Kaharo in Geda Ward in Maragua. Mm-hmm. If I cannot influence my local polling station, if I cannot influence my clan so that they give me votes and they see the leadership that I have, because they are the ones who know me, how can I then go and influence my friend Johona there in Kanyanyaine? We have charity begins at home.
Yes.
And it so happens that people live in certain villages at the moment, except in the city of Nairobi and maybe city of Mombasa, and we should have more and more cities where we have more integration. You will find that if you go to Kibwezi, you are going to find the people living in Kibwezi are Kabas.
Okay.
So to that extent, let's face it, reality is such that politics is first of all local, before it can become regional, before it can become national.
Okay.
Even we talk about Africa, so to speak. So to that extent, we can't run away from the reality that we need to begin at home.
Okay.
But I would rather, we are not saying that I am going back to my Kikuyu people. No, I am going back to my village. I am going back to my ward. I am going back to my constituency. I am going back to my region, so that I win followers there. Then I win followers nationally. Mm-hmm. But be that as it may be, I think we are, when I see former Prime Minister Raila Odinga going to talk to Governor Kifudha Kibwana, having along Senator James Orengo, having along Dr. Mukisa Kitui, what I see there is not tribe. What I see there are leaders who are trying to coalesce together to come up with a formation or a coalition, just like Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo Musyoka and Weta, and and Gideon Moy are also trying to get together to form a formation. And then we can see another one, Deputy President and others. And if we can have like 3 or so formations, eventually now we will not begin to see tribes. Those people, as these coalitions emerge, we begin to see people talking about what is it that they are going to do for the nation. So I think, in my view, we are moving forward as a nation. It is a pity that we have taken 60 years in our democracy, and we have been very much driven the tribal talk and so forth. We must find a way of getting away from this. It is not a trap. And as a national leader, as a leader myself, I tell you, I never use the word tribalism. I don't. Why should I? The more you talk about something, the more you make it look real.
Okay.
And even if it is a lie, they say if you repeat a lie 100 times, it looks like the truth. The truth of the matter is that when I go to Kahawa West, where I am involved in a number of activities there, whether it is in the church or it is in a school that I'm chairman, I have all the people. Nobody talks about it.
Right.
So let's get away from this. It is toxic for our nation.
Okay.
Let us talk about Kenya. Let us talk about what we can do. But on the other hand, politically, I have to win. Mukisa Kitui has to go back to Western Kenya, his village, and win followers there. If he can't win followers there, how can he then convince us that he's a leader? That's it.
All right, well, he met Baba yesterday. We do not know what it is that they discussed, but then extensively it has to do with 2022 politics. But even as we revolve around the aspect of tribe and where we reside from, there's this one story that has been lingering around and I'd love to briefly, or for us to briefly just speak about it. Storm over Mwende Mwizi's Korea job, and members of parliament are angered by news that the envoy reported on duty despite recommendation that she renounces her American citizenship fast. This aspect of dual citizenship and just how much you can represent your country if you're holding a dual citizenship. I would want to speak of it. I would want to look at it as, the angle of tribe, but, on a larger scale or on a huger, perspective of view. What do you make of this? And now the members of parliament say that she should not assume this position until she renounces her citizenship, that is the American citizenship. But she has not been able to do that for quite a while since this conversation started.
So I think that that's actually a little bit different from what tribe.
Yes, the tribe aspect is, yes.
Because, these are some of things that even the Constitution really talks about. Because there are some positions that requires that you pay allegiance, 100% allegiance to your nation. And I think that is one thing that I don't think it's a bad thing, because sometimes it's also good to know that just like individuals, even countries have enemies. And that is why sometimes allegiance is a key thing. Yes. So I think that's not a very bad move. But when you come back to the issue of the tribalism, I think what Dr. Moses is saying is really good, because he's talking about home. He's not talking about the tribe. The only challenge that we have in Kenya is that people are actually coming together when it comes to the general election, and they start saying that we belong to this tribe and the other tribe.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm liking this conversation that is going on today, because as we currently there is a very serious conversation about the economic model of our nation, that people are talking now in terms of the economic well-being. How can we improve the lives of the Kenyans without necessarily talking about politics of tribes?
Yeah.
And this narrative, and the other day I was surprised to hear a few guys talking, trying to assume that the talk about this thing that they are calling, people are calling hustler, it's a fight between the poor and the rich.
Yes.
And I find them so confused, because what this narrative, as far as I've seen it, they are talking about the models that are going to uplift the lives of Kenyans.
Yeah.
Those who have been left, kept aside, and they have not actually benefited from the economy of Kenya. And a good example is whatever I was just talking about. Like now, the BBI is talking about the seats of a few people, like those new members of parliament 224. And then we are told we do not have money. The treasury is telling us we do not have money to take care of the Kazi Mtaani initiative. And yet, these new members of parliament are going to spend about 5 billions with the new members of parliament. So we have money for that, to pay those people for all those years, because it will affect even generations to come. Unfortunately, people are thinking it's about 2022. And then these wananchi wale wako chini, pesa yao haipatikani. You know, that's a conversation that every Kenyan needs to embrace. And we start thinking in terms of the models that we have, so that we don't just leave these people. Like now, the young people, the youth, the number of young people are so many who are jobless.
Yes.
As we talk now, the wage bill, we are talking about 900 billions in Kenya, yet it represents only 2% of the population. The wage bill that we are paying is just being given to 2% of the population. Where are the others? So it is our high time now we start moving from the politics of tribes, and we start talking about politics of issues, politics of empowering, politics of helping our people come from poverty and move to the higher levels.
Let's speak about that. Let's speak about that and look at the events of yesterday, Dr. Moses. President Uhuru Kenyatta tells these high-end individuals in government that you are with me or not. And as he tells them this, he says his biggest interest as at now is, one, to get to that realization of the Big Four agenda, the aspect of unity, and the fact that the BBI should sail through. I know we've extensively touched on the BBI, but one, as a governance expert, what do you make of the fact that, well, the DP was not there, or so to speak, he was not invited, and what does it mean? Do you suppose then that the president has a chance of realizing some of these things that he wishes to before he exits the stage?
Linda, let's look at the mind of the president, and let us remember, I mean, he's not going to run again as president. He and his government was elected on the basis of a manifesto.
Yes.
As a nation, we cannot be a nation where we politic from January to December, immediately after the elections until the next election. We cannot develop. We cannot even expand our economy. And therefore, I feel him when he brings his government together and say, people, we have a job to do. We have to deliver to Kenyans the Big Four agenda. The Big Four agenda, I belong to the healthcare system in Kenya has been in trouble. If you are sick today, you have a problem, accessing services. If we can achieve, or rather make steps towards achieving universal healthcare, we will be helping Wajiko on the ground, who is downtrodden. If we make steps towards solving the housing problem, we have increasing population in our cities, so the housing problem is an urgent, important problem, and it affects the people in Mathare, the people in Kibera, and so forth. We need to think about these people. Manufacturing, and I'm also in the manufacturing sector, and I'm happy that where I work, we have created more than 150 jobs in the last 2 years, and maybe by the end of the year we'll create another 100 jobs, because we are building a new factory. Okay. Because Kenya and Africa, one of our the thing that holds us back from developing is that we don't have enough manufacturing sector. So I think what the president is saying is he's rallying his government together. Those were his CSs, those were his PSs. He's telling them, let's focus on the job, because some of them are already campaigning and they're in government. How do you cannot serve two masters? So Now, the fact that the DP was absent from this meeting, as I said earlier, for me it is unfortunate because he's the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. They are tied together. However, you can also see the President is upset because, for whatever reason, they are not reading from the same script. And if you are not reading from the same script, he's saying, let's not pretend. You want to campaign, go on with the campaign. I want to deliver, let me deliver. It is not a healthy situation for our country. But be it as it may be, Linda.
Yes.
If I have a problem, or if someone has a problem in their marriage, when they come out there, they don't stop living. They have to keep on living. Then you'll go back to your home and see how to live. So I don't know how they are gonna survive. But we as Kenyans expect that we should receive services. We are paying taxes, and I think the president is in order to focus on the things that make sense to Kenyans, rather than just talk and talk and talk.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Moses Mwangi, governance expert, and Njuguna Mwangi, governance expert. Yes, time flies that fast. It is actually it's past time, 7:34. We're supposed to close it at now, unless 30 seconds. That's the most I can give.
Yes, can you give me that second? Because I just want to address a very key issue that Dr. Moses has just touched. It's good to be very truthful to ourselves.
Yes.
That in as much as that we don't agree politically, it is important that we give space to each other, because like for example, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is not actually appointed by the president. He has been given a mandate by the country. It's the people who give him the mandate, and he was elected. So it is important to give him space to work. If he is not given space to work, of course, because his work is to assist the president, if there is nothing to assist, then there is no problem. And let us not say that the Deputy President has been doing campaigns. I have not seen him do campaigns. I have seen him talk to people everywhere.
Is it so?
This is what has been happening all along, because I want you to remember in 2011, President Uhuru Kenyatta was all over the country, going around trying to look to talk to people. Even one day, my former member of parliament, Honorable John Michuki, in 2011, said publicly that if you want to come to Mount Kenya region, you have to look for Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay. So what is wrong with the Deputy President meeting people and yet he's doing the work of the people who elected him? Well, he must be given the space to do his work, and if he is not given the work by the president, then he cannot be denied the right to meet the people.
Okay, well, meet and greet, so to speak, or meet and greet and eat. That is a conversation for another day. I'd have loved for us to expound some more on the same, but time would not allow us. Once again, gentlemen, thank you so much, Dr. Moses Mwangi and Njuguna Mwangi. It was good having you this morning.